To see the fully uncut version of this video, head over to patreon.com/Jonjo Lyons.
What's that like to live deliciously? Chaos reigns.
Please don't scream.
Nah, Sid, don't you blame the movies. Movies don't create psychos. Movies make psychos more creative.
What's going on? My name is Jonjo Lyons, and today, actually, do you mind if we have a little chat, yeah? So last week we did a poll choosing a New York City-based horror movie to cover, and quite a lot of you picked Maniac, which I had loads of fun reviewing. Problem is, when the video aired, it seemed like your desire to see a review of that movie had completely evaporated. So what happened there then? I'm starting to notice a pattern. You don't like slasher movies or anything anyone could call relatively normal, so you know what? You know what? I'm gonna make sure that this February is a colon packed to the point of bursting with the most vile shit I could possibly get my grubby little mitts on. Soul destroying exercises in anarchy, pushing the envelope and ensuring that any small chance I had of enjoying the next 28 days are dashed like the brains of a baby swung by its ankles head first into the cold hard concrete. God of dreams of better times, of higher success and destiny fulfilled. And all that remains is the giant black hole pulling in anyone who gets too close and spitting back out vomit, pus and bile. Drowning you in the viscous liquid as it forces its way down your throat, burning you from the inside out as you scream and beg for mercy. You with 1,000 flaming chainsaw teeth gnashing and begging to rip and tear, to fling flesh and thick ropes of blood into the air, to paint the sky with you, carving through bone like butter and leaving behind a steaming pile of guts, teeth and muscle 1,000 miles wide. And over the chorus of agony, so loud God can hear it, I will hear you screaming, begging for another review, and I will whisper, yeah, alright then. Welcome to the first annual you February, where today I'm here to present to you my review of American Guinea Pig Bouquet of Guts and Gore. Written and directed by Stephen Biro, American Guinea Pig stars pretty much just Nicolas Cage. Two women are abducted by a group of snuff filmmakers and brought into a hellish nightmare of unmistakable brutality, viciousness and destruction that will leave every viewer shocked, amazed and awestruck. Nearly a year ago, I made a video where I went through all the 6 official entries in the Japanese Guinea Pig series. And a couple of videos before that, I checked out the second entry in the American Guinea Pig series, Bloodshot. Why I decided to do it in that order, I'll never know, but seeing as I'm really looking forward to checking out American Guinea Pig 3 Song of Solomon, I thought what better time than now to look at the first entry in the series. Seemingly inspired by Guinea Pig 2, what we've got here is the closest thing you could get visually to a real-life snuff film, so if that floats your boat, you're in for a hell of a good time. The movie's directed by Stephen Biro, owner of Unearthed Films, Unearthed Films, I can't say it. You know what I'm trying to say. A company that I'm desperate to get sponsored by, if I could say their name. And I was able to purchase it for a reasonable price over on their official Vimeo page, link in the description. We don't have much going on in terms of a story here, but the practical effects on display are some of the best that I've ever seen in such a low budget movie. As you can imagine, it's not often that I have to look away from the screen, and this movie gave me at least one of those moments, so at least it's got that going for it. Things are about to get pretty brutal. Get your puke bucket ready. But before we get into all of that, I just want to remind you, you can see this video completely uncut over at patreon.com/Jonjo Lyons for as little as $1 a month. I'm not going to lie to you, this movie is basically just 2 people being dissected, so on YouTube you're going to see a lot of Nicolas Cage's beautiful face. Just so I can avoid the video being instantly age restricted and the channel being nuked from orbit. So if you really want to see what's going on behind the Golden Gods mush, plus a whole catalogue of uncut reviews and loads of other good stuff, head over there and get involved now. Oh, and just quickly, we've also got an extremely important campaign running over at GoFundMe. I've been invited on a horror podcast in New York City, which could be a huge opportunity for the channel and my career in horror going forward. In order to make this trip, I've started a GoFundMe and we're nearly halfway to the minimum target, which is amazing. You can donate to the fundraiser at gofundme.com/Help Jonjo Lyons Take Manhattan. Any help is massively appreciated. And finally, if you want this t-shirt, go to Rogue Print Co. Use Jonjo as a promo code on orders over 20 quid and I think you get like 10% off. But anyway, I've got a craving to see insides on the outside, so let's not waste any more time. Get ready to see a guy in a goat mask open his presents slowly. This is American Guinea Pig Bouquet of Guts and Gore. The movie begins with a red screen, then cuts to this do not open sign and this brother driving behind these girls. He slows up behind them and we cut to the girls walking and getting into this pretty awesome midlife crisis mobile. We hear one of them wonder what that guy is doing, as in the back seat we see this guy appear wearing a gas mask as smoke fills the car. Instead of immediately getting out, we hear both girls choking, then see gas mask get out and move to the now apparently empty front seat. The kidnapper drives away and we cut back to the red screen for the title card. Cut to my biggest fan and then to a panning shot over the toys we'll be using this evening. We see this awesome mask which the actor approaches and takes away. Then second unit enters and we get a good look at his mask. Cut to someone loading a tape into this camera. A camera I really want, by the way. I desperately want to get a hold of one for October's daughter, so if you have one or know somebody that has one, please let me know and I'll take it off your hands. Cut to the girls laying on beds in front of the tools as the crew sets up around them. These two grab cameras and announce they're ready as the actor enters the frame and starts looking over his toys. He then picks up a knife, cuts his shirt and tears it off. Alright, big boy, chill out. Cut to a close-up of the actor as the director tells him to start on the left, never on the right. He runs this gnarly looking blade up girl one's body before cutting away her top.
Good. Now do the pants with the shears.
The actor does as he's told, grabs the shears off the table and goes to cut the girl's right leg when he's reminded to always start on the left.
Always on the left, never on the right.
This director needs to calm down with all the notes. Surely they discussed this before shooting. The actor slowly cuts up through the jeans before moving onto the right leg and doing the same. He then pulls the jeans off completely and puts down the scissors. The director scolds him again, telling him to pick them back up and finish the job.
Why'd you put down the scissors? Take them off and finish the job.
And I already hope the director ends up on the table. I mean, he's already a bit of a knucklehead for making this movie in the first place, but being so rude to his cast, that's unforgivable. The actor cuts off the girl's top and goes to take off her underwear, but the director tells him to leave them as it's sexier that way. He's then told to move on to girl 2, but to start at the groin and work his way down. The director then says he's out of film, checks with the second unit, and we cut to take 2. The actor is again reminded to start on the left and then cuts through girl 2's jeans. The director again tells him to slow it down, saying he's hard but not dripping.
Hard, but not dripping.
Lovely. The actor moves on to girl 2's right leg and continues to chop before fully removing her jeans. He then goes after her top, this time remembering to start on the left. He removes the top and we see the toys once more as the actor picks up some smelling salts. He then straddles girl 1 and wakes her up.
You're gonna wake your mother.
He injects her with what the director calls special medicine, then drops whatever this is into her mouth. She seems to chill out as second unit suggests getting more footage of number 2. The director tells him to make sure he gets her crucifix in the shot, and we see that footage before the actor gets on her and gives her the same treatment. The director injects her and calls for the special sauce when second unit runs out of film. Cut to the sauce being dropped into girl 2's mouth and then to the actor as he looks over his toys. The director then thanks second and third units for their participation. He approaches the actor and tells him they have to do this exactly how they rehearsed.
They're completely immobile now, but they need to understand what and why this is happening to them. They need to know.
We see the women are conscious yet unable to move as their eyes open and take in their new home.
Let me congratulate you on being picked for this honor. You have been chosen out of many. Your lives are going to be given to those down below. Your sacrifice will not be in vain.
Oh God.
And if you're wondering why neither of you can move, you've been injected with a neuromuscular blocking agent, vecuronium to be precise, and that strange liquid I had you swallow, 1,500 micrograms of LSD.
Well, it's not all bad then, eh?
Now, you were to be systematically tortured to death while being filmed for our benefactors.
Oh, I take it back. Maybe it is that bad. The actor then addresses Girl 2, taking a crucifix in his hand and saying she'll be the last one to go, that God picked her and knew she would be here. He then rips off the chain, saying he'll give it back to her when the time is needed. The actor pops the chain in his pocket as the director yells out, and we cut to the actor picking up these needles. We then watch as he slowly begins inserting them into Girl 1's feet as her eyes move around wildly. He pushes one of the needles into the front of her toe before pulling it back out and grabbing a hacksaw. He goes to start cutting her stomach when the director pipes up again.
Stop! Put the tourniquet on. She needs to live as long as she can. Start with the wrist first.
The actor then applies a tourniquet to the right side. What happened to starting on the left? Then pops this knife for camera before getting in the girl's face and saying, "I know. You now wish you were Christian, don't you?" We then watch as he digs the knife into Girl 1's wrist and begins to cut.
Roll out.
We hear someone say they're out of film and cut to the red screen before getting back to the fun. The actor is finally able to fully sever the hand which the director tells him to put on her chest. He puts it on Girl 1's chest and the director says no, not the animal, and he moves it to Girl 2. The director then tells the actor to tie off Girl 1's right leg, which he does. He tells her he's gonna cut her up real nice, calls her a animal, and then chops off her foot, with zero effort as well. That thing came off easy. He takes off her sock, probably should have done that first. And we see up close as the blood pumps out of her stump. They once again run out of film before cutting back as the actor leans into Girl 1's face and wipes her own blood across her torso. He then cuts open her top, exposing her Brad Pitts. The actor then picks this thing up and grabs Girl 1's leg before slowly slicing through it. After a while, he's able to get through and is congratulated for sawing through the thickest part of the bone. And I know I'm probably going to be the only one that thinks this, but that chunk looks pretty tasty. Little while on the barbecue, bit of seasoning. The actor then moves to the other leg and does the same. Halfway through, he gives up on the weapon he's using and instead goes for a saw but fails again. He switches to higher up the thigh, which admittedly looks even tastier and manages to get through with ease. We see some shots of exposed muscle and then cut to a wide of what's left of Girl 1. The actor moves on to her left arm and cuts deep into it, eventually completely removing it as well. We then pan over the bloody mess while Third Unit voices his concern with the production.
I can't do this anymore. This is insane. I can't handle this. I just want out.
Hey, shut the up!
The director then gives him a pep talk.
You know that we have your children, and what happens to them depends on your performance tonight. So don't this up, okay?
You know what, while I may not agree with his methods, the director here sure gets results. Cut to the actor straddling Girl 1 again and drawing for the murder set piece's straight razor, which he uses to slice Girl 1's eyeball open so all the jelly comes out. That was genuinely horrible. I had to look away from the screen. Congratulations, Mr. Biro. The actor then picks up his saw, opens Girl 1's mouth and starts to separate the upper and lower jaw. Well, at least she's smiling now. Forever. The director tells him to stop and the actor pulls the lower jaw down before the film runs out once more. Cut to close-ups of Girl 1's flesh and exposed meat. The director says they have 5 minutes to wrap this up, so the actor takes his razor and slits across her lower stomach before reaching in and pulling all of her insides out. Hand over fist like a big, long, gory rope. And this goes on for a surprising amount of time. She's really got a lot of guts. And that's not even a pun. This girl has an extraordinarily large amount of guts inside her. We then get the most disturbing image of the film so far as the director shouts in the girl's face, thanking her for taking part, and we see that her tongue is still waggling about, showing she's somehow still alive.
Congratulations, Amy. Thanks for being such a wonderful participant for us tonight.
Cut to the whole crew cutting all the tourniquets at once, allowing girl 1 to fully bleed out. We then see a lot more close-ups of the mess as the men get up close and the actor fingers the woman's mouth wound, pulling at her tongue. Blood drips off the knife, and yes, the actor grabs her vagina because at this point, why not, eh? The camera pulls out to show the extent of girl 1's torture, with the camera quality really selling the real-life snuff movie motif. If there's one aspect the filmmakers are successful in, it's this one. The actor then opens up her torso even more, reaching in and pulling out her heart. The actor then takes a bite out of her heart because he's metal as f***. Cut to the actor hitting the smelling salts when the director congratulates him.
You're doing a good job. I had to change my underwear.
That means he did a folks. A hands-free the sight of a paralyzed woman being slowly and methodically dismembered. Okay? All caught up? Director and second unit then hit the smelling salts and get their cameras ready as suddenly I'm reminded we have a whole other fresh body to get to. The Christian girl. Who's about ready to find out that God doesn't exist, eh? Oh, you miss? Well, let us proceed. Director tells the actor to get the razor and he steps forward, showing it to girl 2. He then cuts her left arm just below the elbow all the way around and does the same to the other. We pan over the woman in close-up, seeing the blood drops and her flickering eyes, then just sort of hover about for a bit. For the first time in this movie, I kind of feel like they're filling for time. Like, yeah, you've cut her arms a bit, but what are you gonna do now? What the f next? Ah, I see. For the YouTube viewers, what they're doing is flaying the victim, fully degloving her so she looks like Julia from Hellraiser 2, who, honestly, I'd still bang given the opportunity. Julia, not this one. We'll talk about this more in a bit, but I've got to say, the effects for the most part in this film are amazing. I know the camera quality helps, but a massive round of applause must echo through the infinite corridors of hell for Mr. Byro and his team. This truly is a sight to behold. Second unit waggles girl 2's arms about a bit as actor plays with his bloody hands, and we move over to the victim's legs, giving them the same treatment as the arms. I hope they're not just going to throw all that skin away. You can make some really nice crackling with that. It's true. Don't be weird. With all the skin off, the actor discards it like an arsehole before cutting open girl 2's top and getting out her breasticles. He then cuts a T-shape down her torso and the men pull her right the f*** open. Good lord. Cut to the actor opening girl 2's mouth and bashing her teeth out with a chunky hammer. Kisses. Cut to a cigarette being put out on her eye and then a thumb being driven into it. Cut to the weapons and then to the actor as he straddles girl 2 and starts ripping bits of muscle off of her torso before cracking her ribcage open. It's moments in films like this when you sit back and think, maybe life isn't so bad. You know what I mean? The actor is finally able to remove the ribcage and puts his hands on the girl's still beating heart, which he holds for a moment as it pulsates in front of our eyes. The pace quickens as he grips onto it and the actor finally puts her out of her misery. Cut to a mess, or what I call first date best case scenario. The crucifix is laid on girl 2's heart as it finally stops beating and the director congratulates her.
Welcome to Hollywood, Erica. You're a fucking star now. Everybody give her a round of applause.
Cue the chainsaw. Cut to the editing room as the footage is cut together. We see 2 packages ready to be sent, and while the names are hard to make out, according to IMDb, the recipients are Hideshi Hino, director of Guinea Pig, Flowers of Flesh and Blood and Mermaid in a Manhole, the 2 best entries in the Guinea Pig series, and Charlie Sheen, who is known to have reported one of the Guinea Pig films to the FBI and is also a real piece of shit. We see Button Eyes putting the finishing touches on the film when the director enters and the two have this weird, unneeded exchange.
Jesus Christ, this time the girl's good looking. And so-so? So-so? That's all they are?
Cut to a baby being handed to the actor. Oh no. And placed down on the bed. Next enters a little boy who also lays down. The baby cries as the boy lies still when the actor turns to his table of toys. He picks up a knife, stands over the baby, and... the end. American Guinea Pig is exactly what it sets out to be, in that it's pretty much what I would imagine a real-life snuff movie would look like. Horrible camera quality, minimal score, and convincing gore all come together to make a piece of cinema not easily forgotten. The story here is non-existent. 2 women are kidnapped and taken apart. Obviously, the intention of the film is to replicate snuff movies, so I can't fault it all that much for not having any semblance of a plot. We do get a hint of something when Unit 3 tries to bail on production before being reminded they have his kids. It's a nice moment of world building, as it suggests not everyone involved in these films are there of their own free will. The performances don't seem to matter much either. The only person we see given something to do apart from dismember is the director, and he gives it a good go. Other than that, there's not really much else to say. Good eye acting by the victims, maybe? Honestly, I would have loved to have seen a lot more aggression from the actor, but that's just me. We get a couple of little moments, but he is not enjoying this as much as he should be. Obviously, the draw of American Guinea Pig is the gore, and holy mother of God, do they deliver. As I said before, the camera quality helps, but whoever put these gags together deserves some sort of award. If you just found this movie on a random discarded VHS in the woods, I wouldn't blame you for thinking most of it was real. There are a couple of janky bits, like Girl 1's mouth being sawed open, but other than that, it's pretty incredible. With the presentation, again, I love the fact that the film was shot on old cameras and the look that they provide. The minimal score also helps to make the film feel real, as does the messy editing complete with random misplaced frames. All in all, American Guinea Pig is a seriously hard watch, but one I'm glad I soldiered through. It's really impressive as a directorial debut, and I'm sure everyone involved were very proud of what they accomplished here. If you want to dip your toe into the world of extreme horror, this would be one I'd definitely recommend taking on. Just make sure if your car starts to fill with gas, you get out, or you might end up on the actor's table. So that was my review for American Guinea Pig, Bouquet of Guts and Gore. What do you lot think? That was intense, and I've got to say, absolutely all over the original movies. I really didn't want to have to say it, but fair play, mate. The gore here was awesome. The mess that the victims are left in by the end of this movie might be the worst I've ever seen in any extreme horror movie. Speaking of which, if you want to see these 2 girls get dismembered completely uncut and early, head over to patreon.com/Jonjo Lyons. There you can find the uncut version of this review, plus others with more stuff being added all the time. We got the uncut reviews, Patreon exclusive reviews, Slasher comic breakdowns, commentaries coming soon, and the Discord. And all that can be yours for as little as $1 a month. You can pledge more, I really appreciate that, but if you're gonna do that, please go over to the GoFundMe and pledge there instead. Like I say, we're halfway to the minimum goal, and now adding the bonus perk of a small commission for anyone that pledges over $20. That's a commission of your choice by Taylor Stone King, something like that. They're cool, aren't they? Also, if you just want to do the one-time pledge to GoFundMe and not join the Patreon at all, I'll still give you all the links to the uncut videos for pledges over $20. And that's at gofundme.com/help Jonjo Lyons take Manhattan. So that's it for another week. Like the video, leave a comment, and click subscribe if you haven't already. My name's Jonjo Lyons, and I like to think those kids at the end are 3rd unit's kids. He's gonna have a hard job explaining what happened to his wife when he has to bring them back in a bucket.